So with the wedding season finally dwindling down, I figured this was a good opportunity to maybe go through the gear I used this whole season. But all the videos you've seen on my channel, especially for the 2023 season, have all been shot with the gear I'm gonna show you today. So I definitely have more of a minimalist approach, especially the direction I'm going in. I definitely wanna bring more people on board because I've been a solo shooter for so long, and there's obviously less risks you can take on a wedding day, so you kind of have to compromise what you're able to risk while having the other person, getting all the stuff you're gonna need. All right, let's just get right into it. First things first is the bag. I use a Lower Pro bag. This kind of stays on me most of the day. I also have a duffel bag I bring with me that kind of has all my other stuff. I'll get into that. But this kind of stays stationary for the most part wherever I can kind of get set up. I use a Sony a7S III, which I'm filming with right now. My B camera is actually the Sony a7 III, which I mainly only use for speeches. I lock it off on a tripod, make sure I capture the speeches. So I bring lots of Sony batteries with me. I think I bring 7. I think that's enough. I don't need to charge, and I think I usually end up with 1 battery left over. I do have all my batteries labeled with a label maker, just sequential A, B, C, D, because that way I just know which one to use next, and I know how many I have left. And I also do the same thing with my SD cards. I have 2 of these SD cards that I bring with me. They're 128 gigs. They usually do the trick because most of the day I'm shooting 60 frames a second, but then come nightfall, I usually just end up switching to 24, and then that gives me the extra room that I need. I also have a card that goes in my a7 III, as well as an extra one just in case. My extra one is also very large, I should mention. It's also a 128 gig. I also bring a monitor with me. This is a Feel World monitor. I recently upgraded to an Atomos. I have it on the camera right now. But I usually kind of shoot most of the day, the morning routine with a monitor, handheld, and then when I switch to the gimbal, I just kind of ditch the monitor. I also would bring 2 batteries along with that. For a drone, I'm using the Mavic Mini 3 Pro. Also the upgraded controller with the touchscreen. It's no-brainer. I also bring an extra battery for the drone, which I rarely need, but sometimes I get the drone up twice in the day, and I like to just pop in the fresh battery anyways, because it gives you that extra flight time without having to land in between. And then a pack of ND filters. I forget what brand they are, but they go from ND 16 to 64 to 256. So, I mean, if you need something in between, whatever, get them. I've got some sensor swabs and a cleaning cloth that obviously live in the backpack. Tripod obviously always comes with me. I usually end up using it mainly for the speeches. Lenses, I have the Sigma 24-70 on this camera right now. It's a great lens. Obviously it's a budget-friendly option compared to the G Master, and it works great. I have no qualms with it. I've started to kind of notice why it's a cheaper lens compared to other ones, but it still does an exceptional job. For a wide angle, I have this, I always get confused if it's 18 or 16. It's 18. I have this Zeiss 18 2.8. It's a great lens. I've wanted to upgrade it for a while, but I honestly can't even seem to think of a reason why I need to get rid of it. It works fine, it works great. And then I also have the Rokinon autofocusing lens, the 135 1.8. This lens is actually awesome. I've been pleasantly surprised with it. I mainly, again, set it up on the tripod for the speeches. I also have some filters. I have a couple ND filters and a mist filter that I bring. I actually don't use the mist filter too often. Once in a while, if the lighting setup is kind of cool. Now for a gimbal, I've actually always used Moza gimbals, mainly because when they first came out, they were kind of ahead of the game. They could handle more weight and they were lighter. They haven't come out with a new one since the Moza Air 2S, so I haven't upgraded it, and honestly, it still works great. I would actually use a wooden handle on the side, but the reason I don't have it on there right now is because my buddy actually recently gave me his new crane, and I haven't had much use with it yet, but this is the setup I would go with. I would have this wooden grip on the side of the Moza and use it kind of double. I like having the 2 hands on it. It's a great setup. Yeah, so I actually haven't had much use with this, but I mean, gimbals are all the same. I use a gimbal. It doesn't matter which one. And for audio, I like to keep it really simple. I use the Hollyland mics, which I've got here. I'm actually running them now on this, so I can't show you them. All those mics, they're getting all the same now. They come in their own little cases. I've got another set here that I'll show you for an example. They come in a case. You usually get 2 with the receiver. But the Hollyland ones are super easy to hide, especially on a groom. I can either just throw it in the front pocket or hide it underneath a tie really easily. But I will run the wireless microphones just into a Zoom recorder. I have this cheap one just because I don't need it to be anything fancy, and it's a small footprint. I can keep it in the bag. Usually I'll just plug the receiver straight into here. With this, it's like a completely wireless lav setup. Other than that, a few things that live in my bag are like a screwdriver, Allen keys, obviously, different sets. I also bring 2 of these Godox SL60s or SL60W, whatever the hell you want to call them. I don't bring them out often. I bring them out just in case there's barely any light. A couple things that also just live in my duffel bag are a towel, a small cloth, because sometimes during the summers it's hot and I sweat a lot, and I gotta keep a cloth in my back pocket just to wipe the sweat from burning my eyes. I keep an extra shirt, I keep a long sleeve shirt, I keep a sweater. I'll bring a few snacks because long days without any food sucks. I also bring a power bar just in case I need it for the lights for whatever reason. I used to bring an extension cord, but I forgot it at a venue this year, so I need to get a new one. But that's kind of what I bring to a wedding. I'll do another video where I kind of go through how I shoot a wedding, but for the most part, this is the gear that I bring. It's a small footprint, which I like. I want to build the crew up though. I want to bring a second person on board and do some more serious production work, which lets me be a little riskier with the camera on the day of. So also, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. I'll answer. I usually answer all the comments. Let me know how you shoot. Do you shoot with more gear, less gear? Let me know. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.